Tuperos. Today on Doop by the River, we're going to look back at what the heck happened at the Big O, a loss against Montreal. As we look ahead to this upcoming Saturday, who the heck is playing? We're going to look at the Orlando match. And don't you dare go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because you do not miss this episode of Doop by the River. And let's get it started, guys.
Doop by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode, welcome on in, whether you're watching live from Ed Parcelo Philly's YouTube channel or Doop by the River Twitter account. Thank you so much for tuning on in. Make sure you follow on Twitter. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe on Ed Parcelo Philly's YouTube channel. All the live viewings are on this channel. And, of course, if you want to listen to us, you can find us wherever you stream podcasts under Doop by the River Podcast. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you, my expert in duping. Please welcome Justin Shitstorm Goalie Friedberg. Justin, my man, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back in.
I'm feeling good. You know, it's been a week. Interesting coming into the international break. Not as much soccer, but hey, listen, the best cup competition in the world. Those who were able to make out. Westchester United played Ocean City Nor'easters over at YSC Sports. Ocean City came out on top 3-1. I watched the game. That was a hell of a game. All the first round games. All these. Some wild names. Like Bavarian United versus Capo FC, and
all that.
And that's what I love about this competition. Like, this is the point where all like the amateur clubs and the NPSL sides enter, and
the dopest names.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. And I've been flipping forward. I currently have the Flyers game on, but I will switch right back to the Open Cup game I had.
Any sexy kits for Justin? Anything catch your eyes?
As much as I would, some of these jerseys for like Jacksonville Armada or Miami Fusion, they were nice, but these lower sides, I highly doubt they are making more jerseys than they than the players have. But listen, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Champions League is kicked off.
Screw March Madness, man. Give me Open
League.
Cup.
Listen. The competitions are kicking out, and what a time to be alive.
Especially as a soccer fan, man, you really can't complain. Justin, I think we do need to give a shout out to our friends over in St. Louis. Look, Justin, as long as this podcast will be alive, we're going to support American soccer to the best that we possibly can. Obviously, everyone saw what happened with the Soccer Capital podcast, formerly known as the Soccer Capital podcast. Now I do believe they are under River City Rumble podcast. I will double check for you 1 second. But listen, we always show support, especially a cause like that. Sporting Kansas City probably should be spending their money on Argentinian players, and we'll talk about that more next week. A little foreshadowing there. But especially as independent creators that we are just trying to make content off of literally pennies and dimes and for the fans, something that we're trying to grow here in this league. So shouts to St. Louis. We love you. Maybe Justin, Tim, Zach, and I will make a escapade out there. We'll drink a lot of Budweiser. I'm kidding. I don't know about you, Justin. I am not drinking Budweiser. You cannot pay me to drink that stuff.
I mean, if I've been known to pound a Bud Light, a Bud Light seltzer.
Bud Light's different. Budweiser though.
But yeah, Budweiser to me, Listen,
Good.
I'm not exactly Mr. Health Kick, but I've been on a bit of a seltzer and vodka soda, canned vodka soda craze,
Okay.
lately. So hey, listen, dude, it gives you the same point, and listen, especially at the Sons of Ben tailgates. With shouts if anyone does come by the tailgates, tickets are still available. It will be a wet one on Saturday, but we do have our Trulies, we have our Twisted Teas, and as of last tailgate, and people, this was a hot item. We got some stateside.
Hey.
So if you are a big fan and supporting local, stateside distilling, we have a bit of their products at the Sons of Ben tailgate. So grab a tailgate ticket if you're coming to the Orlando match this upcoming weekend.
Real quick, because I don't want to go too far off. Have you had the lemon mint cucumber stateside?
I have not. I ironically did pick up a mixed pack of some of their stuff at the liquor store
It's
this
good.
weekend. Their black cherry is pretty solid. On their
the best.
Surfside stuff, the lemonade vodka one, that one is pretty looky solid. But no, I'm interested. That was a pretty popular item at the tailgate. But
Okay, so I need your expert opinion on it, because I seem to be the only one that cares for it. Nat hates it. So when we go out,
is it the mint or the cucumber?
So her opinion is that it just doesn't taste real, which
Well,
these seltzers don't taste too real.
The cucumber, maybe the mint. I mean, mint can be mint's a pretty natural. I don't know. I think cucumber and mint and like cucumber sour, those kind of combos work well together. So, I mean, I do have it in my fridge. I have not opened.
You let me know. You let me know what you think, Justin. So we need your
certainly
expert
will.
opinion.
It's pretty. I mean, stateside solid stuff. So and again, supporting local is always very nice.
Soccer and seltzer, that's what we do. Paul Katrina is probably about to bounce out of here somewhere. So
I was gonna say, yeah, someone's gonna tag Paul, and we're gonna get a cease and desist.
We actually did
Twitter
talk
thread.
about that. I recently talked to Paul, and I said, "Dude, I think it's time you revisit that list, because there's some new ones. They're pretty good. I don't know, man. You might need to revisit that." But that was definitely Twitter Hall of Fame worthy Twitter thread that he had that time. But real quick, Justin, because I do want to get into Montreal. We obviously have to get into Orlando as well. But I think very big deal. 2 extensions this past week, brother. Glesnes and Harriel here till 25 for both. Glesnes does have an option for 26. Harriel does have an option for 26 or 27. But I feel like people look at Union fans look at the extension like, oh, cool, all right, well, whatever. But in hindsight, dude, this is huge. Being able to keep your own. Harriel, especially as a young player, we don't know how good Harriel's going to be. He's got glimpses, but dude's not even 20 years old. So the sky's the limit. And we already see what's going on with Glesnes. This is a bigger deal than what it should be, right? The extensions.
Yeah, I think at this point, listen, you're probably realistically not holding on to Kai for very much longer. So, and I think guys like Jakob, Jack, and Nate can be here for a decent amount more years. I mean, who knows? Jakob might not be, because we did see rumors about Besiktas coming in late in the window, kind of probing. So I assume this is early interest, but you what you have with this back line. It's one of the best in MLS. And Nate, I mean, listen, it's no slight to him that Olivier, when Olivier's been getting starts, it's Jim has said they both that is one of the toughest spots to pick, because at least with Kai, he's gonna get the start, because he's an Iron Man, he's a warrior, he's one of the best in the league by far.
Max.
And with Olivier and Nate, you have 2 amazing right backs, each have their absolute strengths. And as I've said, Olivier's is the offensive, where he's worked on the defensive, and Nate's the opposite. He's amazingly solid on the defensive end, and he's worked on the offensive side. He has delivered some nice crosses, and I think he can absolutely get up and down the wings. So and listen, all the homegrowns have come along nicely, and not all of them are going to leave all at once. Like that's kind of, I think people misunderstand how like a homegrown has to leave progressing. Like, Paxton Aronson, got on the field this past weekend for Eintracht Frankfurt.
I know, dude.
Now they were down 2-0 to Union Berlin, but he got on the field. But hey,
for Mario Götze.
But hey, that kind of move isn't like, oh, that's the move. And again, Paxton barely played. Imagine Nate with a couple more years of seasoning with some real honing, and he might get a decent move to Belgium, to Italy, to Spain. Who knows? And I think not. And I say this, you talk about this with a lot of players, and whether it be the Union, the national team, no one path is correct for a player's development. And I think people have to look at this and go, okay, maybe Nate's is staying here for a few more years and then going out. This is something that I am excited for, and I think more people should get really excited for, because the Union are building on something potentially pretty dominant.
Yeah.
And this is you've reloaded a roster that you did not drop much off, and you still you're securing this kind of talent for years to come. That is big.
I am curious about the next transfer window, because I do feel like if we were in a different league, teams would look at our talent differently. Because I do feel like a lot of the times when teams come up to negotiate with Kai, with Jakob, with El Brujo, they try to lowball us, and that's really what I want. I keeping a keen eye on, because I personally believe a guy like Glesnes could definitely help like a Portuguese league, like a Turkish league, like one of those type of leagues, and he can play for one of those clubs. But I mean, we really haven't heard like pricing wise as far as transfers fees for Glesnes goes, but obviously now they may go up.
I know the rumor was
an extension.
4 million but that's again the nice thing about the Union is they're in a position where they can go it's not that they're blocking the move. It's gone are the days where you can lowball an MLS club and get that kind of an offer.
That's my point.
The Jakob Glesnes should not be going anywhere for less than 6 million at the lowest. I think if you should, that kind of a player, you should be getting 7 to 10 at least for a pairing and literally the number one defense in the MLS last year.
Absolutely. So definitely big. Obviously, we'll wait to see more extensions or just even more news with this club. Obviously, the goal was to keep this club intact, and they've done a good job at that. And you know who's next there, Justin? Or wait to see who's next. Jimmy Boy. Wait to see. I know you saw Tommy Bogue's tweet today. I know you, Justin.
I don't really put too much stock into that.
I'm waiting till the end of the season, because if he goes, I'm not mad. If he stays, I'm not mad. So,
because he said he wouldn't go unless the perfect move, and people were like, "Oh, the national team." I'm like, I don't know if that would happen right away.
The whole nation wants him, Justin. The whole nation. That's pretty cool.
We'll see. I mean, that's the thing. We don't know, and I mean, there's plenty of time. I think it's early in the season, and Tommy Bogues is just reporting what he hears.
Yeah, but we need cups and rings, lots of them. But let's get to it, brother, because we do need to get this out of the way. No, none of us want to talk about this, but Montreal, Saturday night showdown and the Big O, and for the Union, the way we would line up for this one, obviously, as we have discussed. And as we continue to monitor, Andre Blake did not get the start in this one. So you got your boy Joe Bendik back there. Your back line, Kai Wagner, Jack Ellie, Glesnes, and Bizo. Your main four in the diamond, Flock at the left, and Brujo Martinez at the 6, Ali at the right, Gazek at the tip of the diamond with Ure and Carranza as your two forwards. this one started in the best of ways as you get an early handball by Glesnes. I'll get Justin's opinion about that in just a second. But that would leave Romel Kyoto at the PK spot, and he would bury that one past Bendick. And that would put Montreal up early, 3rd minute, 1-0. We move forward into the 46th minute as Michael Murray would get on the damn board, ladies and gentlemen. But what was better was probably in the 60th minute, the nice little chippy pass by Gazdag. Murray with a little bit of a breakaway, and he puts that one past the net for the brace, ladies and gentlemen. And that's where things would go sour. 69th minute, Carranza gets the second yellow. That means bon voyage and suspension for Orlando match. And then, of course, Montreal in the span of 8 minutes and give us heartbreak as we lose with 2 goals in 8 minutes. We'll talk about that in a second. But the final score here in this one at 3-2. All right, Justin. So here's the thing. That's a bad loss. There's no sugarcoating that. It's a bad loss. Absolutely. You're playing Montreal, no expectations. A team that we talked about in the preview with Eve had 1 shot on goal in 3 matches. And so for them to put up 3 goals against you, I mean, obviously one's a PK, so you're not going to put too much stock into that one. That's definitely disappointing. But Justin, it's still really early on in the season. So what do we make of this loss against Montreal?
You know, we talked about this, pre-recording, and I still come to the mindset. I don't know how much you can learn from this game. Like, okay, yeah, Carranza for the 2nd straight year in Montreal gets 2 yellows, but we saw last year that was a victory. But again, you're missing Andre. The yellow cards change things. The handball was, it was tough. Like, I get it. I understand the call. It was a tough one. The VAR review, I think that was absolutely poor. Like, how the fuck do you not have that angle to start with? And the fact that if Victor Wanyama was the one who said that to the ref, like, you allowed the player, whether or not it's the right call, it is the right call. That I'm not disagreeing with. You allowed the player to influence the call. First off, how do you not have that fucking angle beforehand? Like, if again, I talk about it. Yeah, I talked about how if Corey Burke doesn't go down in the Almost Cup final and we win and there's no Gareth Bale goal, if they get that right the first time, that second goal, that third goal, that Kyoto goal doesn't happen. I mean, that was at least 4 minutes of review, and there was only what's supposed to be 6 minutes, and it went to 98 minutes. Like, that part irks me more than the loss. And as Jim said, the game was a shit storm, like or shit show. But at this point, I'm saying shit storm because it was all the shits, all day. Like, I genuinely, the more I keep trying to play this back in my head, I genuinely don't know what we can learn from this game. Like, it just doesn't, like, it does. The Union aren't a bad team, and Montreal still aren't really a great team.
Right.
Mikel Uwa still has a brace. Like, again, it's also 4 games into a season. The Union are in CCL. Like, it's one of those, and again, the international break coming up. You have Andre out. Like, in general, this is just a weird confluence of events. Also, it is 4 games into the season. I really cannot be looking again. Yes, it's a bad loss. It's disappointing. Honestly, it felt like it should have been a draw, and you also feels like you also got robbed of 3 points at the same time. Yeah. But you know what? Again, it's one of those games where you go, but like in MLS, to be honest, and we've talked about this, the first 10 games really, not that they don't mean much, but like, we've seen teams have a shitty first half of the season and run.
DC 2018, man.
Seattle Sounders, like 2017, 2019, like you can run off a great second half of the year and go into the playoffs. And this year with 9 teams, I really highly doubt that the Union are going to start sliding and miss the playoffs. Like I have seen people already freaking out, already like, and this is why I outside of like retweeting our show and some of the articles I write, I just have stayed off of Twitter just because even in the victory, like I love our fans, but also like it's the same shit year after year, and it's like, you know what? If I have to be the voice of reason, that's a bad sign.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's always helpful to stay away from social media. I always recommend that as well. So one thing that I've heard a lot of gripe from fans, Justin, about speaking of the yellow cards. So a lot of people feel as if the first one was uncalled for. And the second one, a lot of people say, well, he barely touched him, but it's the intent, and you have to recognize. For you, do you think the ref was just in the yellow cards?
Yeah, I think the second one was more justified than the first. The first one felt insanely soft to the point where, like, again, it's Nima Sagafi, and I've seen people say, "Oh, well, the ref shouldn't." It doesn't really have an effect on the game. The refs do have an effect on the game. Every time you off, man. But every time Nima Sagafi's name comes up in Union history, it tends to be bad. I mean, he was the ref that gave 2 red cards to Medunjanin and Bedoya in Atlanta. Like every time his name comes up, I just like, it's just like, what the fuck is going to go wrong now? And you don't want the ref to stand out. And due to a number of things, Nima Sagafi stood out way more than he should have in this game. And that's ridiculous.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I want to look at the VAR real quick, because obviously the thing is you should not be going back to the VAR. Once the decision is made, you can't go back to it. On a bigger scale, this to me makes us look bad as a league, because you know what happens. The minute that stuff happens, you get the Euro snobs like, this is why we don't take your league seriously because of stuff like this. Justin, this stuff can't happen, man. We're trying to grow our league here. Like this makes us look bad, man.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think as I was listening on my walk today, I was listening to part of the episode of our boys, our friends, Matt and JD over at the EPL Boys. Give them a listen if you are in the mood for EPL talk and occasionally some MLS talk.
Let's go.
And they brought up this thing, and again, if the Victor Wanyama thing is true, that looks bad. Like the players, once you have made a decision, whether it's correct or not, I mean, if they had fucked it up and said, "Oh, oops, we fucked it up," like I get it, but it like the MLS, VAR to this point, outside of like the Bundesliga, has been kind of one of the models of using VAR correctly, and this just looks bad. Like yes. It sets a bad precedent because at this point you're not going to feel confident in the ref's decision. Like we talk about the angles, like with offsides. You're never gonna you were gonna be like, oh, is there a camera angle that I'm missing here? Like. The fact that is a thing, the fact that wasn't even part the first time around, I think that is what's absolutely ridiculous to me. And yeah, it makes us look bad. And in a time where the league is growing and they're getting a good standing in the international view, this just is like, oh, there's stupid Americans with their backwards VAR. Like it creates it makes a mountain out of a mountain out of an anthill where you just didn't need to create this problem.
Yeah, it was just a terrible circumstance, man. Would you think? I mean, obviously it's tough to watch when you're watching at home. It's different when you're in the stands. But from TV, what'd you think of the new turf that Eve was telling us about at the Big O?
It still looked, again, as Eve said, don't get your expectations up. It still looked kind of rough. Like, I don't know. It still gives me very much Veteran Stadium vibes. Like, new or not, it just doesn't look good.
You know, it's so funny you mentioned that. So when Kyoto gets nails in the game winner, dude, he's like running, and I feel like he's running like an extra mile just to like just try to get to the fans. And it's like, dude ran ran longer just to celebrate with the fans and hit that damn goal. So it is weird, but it's what they got to use. I want to finish off with Urre. Number one, that first goal, that was some nice skill. All right, that was some nice skill. The second one, Gazak and Urre were right on the same page, and he's actually pretty dangerous on those breakaways. There has been some criticism concern for Urre because of the playoffs, and I guess because of the slow start. I guess you're not watching the tape, but either way, but you know, does this performance give Union fans, you know, like, all right, he's gonna be all right. He's gonna be all right this year.
Yeah, like I think, I mean, the first goal was kind of a weird play, and it was a nice, like, inside the post. It was a heck of a finish. I love the turn to be able to kind of get that power even from not much. And the second one is kind of exactly why he was brought in the first place. Like, his ability to get in. I mean, he hasn't had many opportunities to get in behind this year. I think defenses have kind of, like, they've played a bit off, and it hasn't. I mean, there's been times where Uwa's gotten in behind and it's great chances, but not direct on net. Like, the goalie's come out. It's been kind of like he's held up the ball. He's had a few assists. Like, I think people misunderstand. Like, he's had assists. Like, he hasn't been contributing. And so again, early in the season, like, it's, you know, it takes time for the players to kind of get their feet out from under them. And listen, Mikel Uwa is someone I tend not to worry about, because when it comes to it, in those moments, he's gonna deliver. And I mean, he bagged a brace. Like, there's not much else he could have done in this game to show, like, and he's had chances all season. And I think the goal, absolutely, it's just that the goals are gonna come, and they've started to come, and we'll see if this is the start of something big. I mean, he's gonna get a lot of chances this weekend.
Oh, yes, he is. And the fitness concern, that may get tested this weekend as well, too. I think that's one of the things that Union fans will gripe on the most with Urre. But, you know, we talked about it during match one. I mean, if you watch the tape clearly, I mean, the dude was working his ass off on the press and off the ball in the Columbus match. And, you know, that type of stuff, there's no stats for it. But, I mean, that's very important for what the fuck you're doing on this team. So, to me, I'm with Union fans to a certain extent because of the playoffs. You know, we did sign Urre and Carranza to nail in those type of goals in those type of big situations, but we're gonna wait till then. But right now, it was a fun performance, and people should definitely be enjoying that one as well, man. So let's move on from Montreal, Justin. Let's forget that, man. Let's forget.
That's last week.
You know what's gonna happen, Justin? We're gonna destroy them when they come to Philly, right? I mean, it's the only way it can happen here, man. But. So next up here for the boys in blue, obviously, listen, the narrative, there's no secret. It's going to be a tough matchup because of all the players that were missing because of international break. Orlando's dealing with it as well. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give you guys a perspective from enemy lines. So without further ado, we have an interview here pre-recorded with Zach from Orlando City Fan TV. If you guys don't know them, TikTok something, because they're doing a great job. The post-game interviews, it's great stuff. It's great content. It's hilarious, and we really appreciate them giving us insight. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on in Zach from Orlando City Fan TV. Let's get it. Joining us live now, Duperos y Duperas, of course, previewing this Orlando City matchup. Please welcome to the podcast, Zach from Orlando City Fan TV. Team standing outside Exploria, and now he's here with us. Zach, my man, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man?
Nothing much, just sipping on a Monster and talking some football with you. We're having a good time.
I love it, man. So I got these. I bought these AHA caffeinated ones. So I'm with you on that one, my man. But
Yeah.
dude, it's a pleasure seeing you, man. What's new with you, man? You've been still killing it with the interviews outside the Explorer. We do appreciate that here, man. But what's new with Orlando City Fan TV?
We were just talking about the new mic that we got, so we got that going for us. It's a wireless setup now, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, we're just kind of trying to keep the content going, create good stuff for the MLS fans. We just had a video that actually went viral across MLS, like Twitter and TikTok and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But trying to be the B-Tech Arsenal Fan TV, you know?
Straight from Orlando. We love it, man. Absolutely. So right now, Florida or Orlando is kind of all eyes for American soccer fans. Florian, you know, he's Balogun is, you know, what's going on, man? So kind of tell us what's been brewing down there in Orlando with what's been going on with Balogun.
He posted an Instagram picture, and in the background you can kind of see the words painted outside of a bar. There's actually a 21 plus bar called Pups Pub. And it's literally meant for you to bring your dogs in, and then you can also drink. So you're invited to bring your dogs in, and you can just have a good time. But he was pictured out there. Well, he posted on his Instagram. But he's here, and then I read that he's not going to be playing. He's not going to be playing in this camp, but he will be in attendance for one of the games later into this game.
So he's going to be a member of the USMNT then, huh?
Hey, I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't.
All straight from Orlando, man. Straight from it's Pups Pub.
Pups Pub.
Pups Pub, man. Look at that. So for all of us Union fans, if you ever go down there, go check out Pups
Pub. You just got a free plug.
There you go. Please sponsor Orlando City Fan TV Pups Pub. We would appreciate that up here, man. But let's talk a little bit about our matchup here. Obviously, both of our sides meeting yet again. I wanted to ask you from your opinion from down south, down in Orlando. I personally hate the fact that we have to play during international break because you're used to watching the Prem or whatever. Those guys are off this week, and it kind of hurts because like we're going to talk about in just a little bit what is available. It's not the best. And these are two teams that obviously a lot of people expect to be meeting later on in the playoffs. So I mean, for you, bro, like, can we just get full breaks, full just stops for one?
Right. Yeah, I think most MLS fans would agree. Like almost every other league, literally every other league stops. Maybe not down south. I don't know about South American football, but all the big leagues over in Europe pause. So you don't have to have your B teams playing these important matches. Like early in the season, you could say, oh, you have time to make it up. But we've seen us drop points early in the season when we shouldn't have. So for us to have to play without some of our big stars, it's going to hurt us in the long run, I feel.
Absolutely, man. And let's talk about your side. I do want to talk about the club. I know it's going to be a different look Saturday, but I do want to talk a little bit about your club. Obviously, big expectations heading into the season. I thought you guys had a very solid off season. I think you guys improved, in my honest opinion. But from Orlando fans, what is the expectation with the Lions here this year?
I honestly think we had expectations set too high. We know what Oscar Pareja is. We know what kind of football he likes to play. But then we bring in these attacking options that are just fantastic. We have Ivan Angulo through the summer. We brought in Martino Heda, and we've just played this kind of defensive football. So for us, I think on our podcast we said 1, 2, 3, and 4 of our playoff places. That's where we thought our finish was going to be. But now we're sitting in 10th with 1 win on the season, and we've just kind of been disappointed by the football that we've been playing so far.
It's always tough, man, especially early on in the season. Has Oscar been? Is he really the problem here? Is that what the consensus is down there?
I think that's what it's getting towards. You still see some people backing him on Twitter, being like, look, we had the CCL games. We played 5 games in 15 days. Just give the guys time to gel. But then you look at the way that we've played over the past basically 6 games, the whole season, and it's way too defensive. We just lost to Charlotte 2-1. Charlotte was 0-3 coming into that game. We just gave them their first win in our stadium because we didn't go after the game until after they scored. So it takes us going down 1-0 to go into our attacking mode and then kind of unlock our full potential.
So you think that if Orlando later, maybe like before the midway point, decides to part ways and find another manager that may fit the style of what you have here in the players, do you think that would put Orlando into Eastern Conference favorites or in that conversation?
I mean, you look at our squad and you would have to kind of say we're right there in the race for that. We've kind of set ourselves back a bit, but I think if we play, Kanata is an Arsenal fan from our podcast, and he kind of compares our team to Arsenal in the way that we play. And you have some players that fit the same molds. And you see, I'm a Chelsea fan. I hate watching Arsenal play good football, but they do it very well. And if we could kind of fit that mold and get there, then I don't see why we couldn't be towards the top.
Okay, all right. That's very, very valid, man. Especially with all the talent they have, you would definitely want to see per se what is going on. But right now for your side, obviously it's been a little bit of a rough start. Obviously, in the last week you lose to Charlotte, like you mentioned. You get eliminated from Champions League. The away goal, man, that sticking away goal.
Yep.
So kind of, what's been the form this past two matches? What happened in both of these matches, I guess? A little sum up.
The Tigres match was kind of the same thing. It's been the same story all season, basically. It's sit back and then hope for that one goal. It's Diego Simeone terrorist ball is basically what it is. So it's sit back and then try to counter maybe, but then the players you have up top haven't gelled yet, and then that's where that argument comes in, because we haven't had enough time to gel in the attack. But it's disappointing to watch, to say the least.
Okay. I wanted to ask about the attack there. Last time we talked, we had a conversation about Erkankara. So now that we're in 2023, how has it changed at all? Or if it hasn't? Your thoughts on Mr. Kata?
What did I say last time? Do you remember?
I don't think it was. I think that you felt there was a lot more to be desired from Kata. He put himself in a good situation. I think when we talked, we compared a little bit like to Kasper Shibilko, where Kasper at times would put himself in good spots, but he just had problems finishing. And I think that was similar to what we talked about with Kata.
Yeah, did you happen to see his goal against Tigres?
I did.
That's never ever gonna happen again. It's literally never. Might be the luckiest thing I've ever seen in my life. But we brought in Ramiro Enrique, and then we have a rookie this year, Duncan McGuire. He's got a goal and an assist on the season, playing in a system that we've been saying isn't very attacking. So for a rookie to be able to come in and currently have more goal contributions.
Is Duncan a forward? I'm sorry.
He is. Sorry. Yeah, he's a big hold up boy. He's like kind of like a B-Tech Daryl DK.
Okay.
I would kind of say maybe a little bit less athletic, but he's impressed me massively. His hold up play is amazing. His runs off the ball are good. Apparently, his finishing is better than Kara. So right now it's Duncan McGuire, Ramiro Enrique, and then Erjan Kara in third for me personally.
Okay. So you got a couple different options as far as forward. So has Oscar Pareja stuck with the 4-3-3 like he has in the past?
No, we've seen three backs a couple times this year. Yeah.
Okay.
There's another rookie that came in, Abdi Salim. He's a center back. He had one very good game at home, and then we played. It was DC on the road, and he kind of had a shaky game. But you're a rookie; it's your first away game. You don't know what to expect. So I don't think we've seen him feature since. Maybe as a very late sub, but we've seen a lot of different tactics, defensive tactics, not attacking, defensive tactics from Oscar, and they all just haven't seemed to really pan out.
The bend but don't break, huh? You loving that, Zach?
No, I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
That is always rough, especially like when you have those attacking pieces and you're playing that type of style. Dude, when you got attacking pieces, you got to allow them to have that freedom and allow them to play the way they want, especially if that's what you're going to go by. It is interesting that's what and I feel like didn't this happen in Dallas a little bit with Oscar Pareja? It always started well. They went to the MLS Cup final back in like 2010 or something like that with Colorado, and then it just kind of fell off.
I think it kind of follows him everywhere he goes. You see the same kind of pattern as to where we were in the mud before he came in. We were a terrible team, one of the worst in the league. But then he's kind of brought us up. Now we have a trophy. We've made the playoffs under him. Well, if you're counting MLS is back, we made the final. And then we've made the playoffs. So he's got us to a new level. But now we have a new ownership that can spend more money. And they don't really have ties to him because they didn't bring him in. So if they wanted to sack him, it's like, you're not our guy. We didn't bring you in. Sorry, but we're just kind of like Chelsea did with Graham Potter and Tuchel.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing, except obviously we're not at the same speed. I don't know. I feel like I'm just ranting at this point. So,
okay, if I may, because I do like picking your brain a little bit, Zach. If I may, so if there is a manager out there, it doesn't, just hypothetical. What is the style of manager you would love in Orlando? Hypothetically.
I think we could fit a 4-3-3 attacking type manager if you want me to go into the formation.
Okay.
Even like a 4-2-3-1, and then those two midfielders, one could act as in box to box 8, and then one just be a 6 that could sit like Cesar Araujo. So I mean, we have the ability up top and defensively, I feel, to play, but a 3-back currently doesn't really fit us because we don't have the depth.
And what about the wings? You guys have the wing depth there?
Yeah, we have. I mean, Ojeda, Angulo, Facundo can play out wide if needed.
He's a beast. Let me just say that. Facundo, I know we won't see him Saturday, but he's a freaking
he plays so well last year, but now we haven't seen almost anything from him this year because it's even worse tactically than it was last year.
That is rough, man. Well, Zach, let's look at that list there because listen, this matchup, I do think hopefully later down the line when we have a full squad for both sides, it's going to be a lot of fun. But let's just take a look at this list here, man. So this is why we're a little bit of upset why we have to play this week. So Orlando, we're missing Pedro Galese, Thomas Williams, Mikey Halliday, Alex Freeman, Wilder Cartagena, and then Fabian Loyola and Facundo Torres. Of course, for the Union, El Brujo Martinez, Jack McGlynn, Gazdak, Quinn Sullivan, Julian Carranza. Dude, those are a lot of important players for both sides, man. I guess for you, I mean, obviously you're probably going to say Pedro or Facundo, but any of those other guys pretty significant losses for Orlando?
Mikey Holiday has been our go-to starting right back. Since we gave Ruan to DC in a trade, Mikey stepped in and played very, very, very well. So that's going to be another big hit. Almost, I mean, not at the same level of Pedro and Facundo, but since he is a starter, we're going to have to now rely on someone else to fill in that spot. And then I'd say the next one is Wilder Cartagena. He's been our fill-in for Cesar Araujo. So if Araujo needs rest, then Cartagena comes in and does basically just as well. Araujo is crazy defensively, but I feel as if Cartagena's passing range just is, for a backup 6, crazy.
Okay, all right, interesting point there. And Zach, I do want to ask you, out of the Union player list here, what's the one that you love to see the most not there?
Honestly, there's a few. Carranza being gone for a red card is good for us. Gazdag is fantastic. And then I don't know exactly what you called Jose Martinez when you were reading out the names, but I think that's a big miss for you guys too.
El Brujo. So when he was in Venezuela, they had this nickname him called El Brujo, which translates as like a sorcerer, essentially. So we just kept the nickname here, so we pretty much call him Jose El Brujo Martinez. But he plays like a bull. that's the best way to put it, man. He's like a bull out back there, and as that 6, man. It's fun though. Sometimes it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if he's played against Orlando. Yeah, he definitely has. I feel like we always play. I feel like we do play you guys during international breaks, which is ironic as it is. But yeah, so I guess I want to ask you, because obviously you guys are used to playing the bend but don't break, playing it safe. But it does feel like Saturday, it's going to be a physical type of match. It's going to be low scoring. Might not be a lot of shots, kind of the way it looks like. Is Orlando ready to play a nitty-gritty physical type of play here in Philly on Saturday?
We very well could be. Our our two center backs currently, while Antonio Carlos is hurt, so our two center backs have been Robin Janssen and Rodrigo Schlegel. Both of them, if you put a shoulder into them, they're going to do it to you 2 times harder back. So that can kind of work to our favor, but then we can't lose our heads. If it's going to be kind of one of those chippy, tough games where it's not a lot of attacking and it's just a battle in the midfield, or a battle in our half of the field and you guys just attacking, then we got to be ready for that. But that's, again, on Oscar to prepare them for that.
Yeah, man. And it's going to be interesting, too, because obviously the Union missing Carranza. They're also missing Quinn Sullivan, who has been playing more like a forward this year. So it's looking like Ure. It's looking like Chris Donovan, who started the first CCL match down in Salvador against Alianza. So the forward position is really what does concern me. And I do think that, obviously defensively, I think you guys are solid at times, but Pedro Galese has to make a couple big saves, which is going to be big because he's not there.
Yep.
So, and then you might be able to see your old friend Joe Bendick, man.
Old friend. At the end, he was a little shaky, but
we call him Bendick face because if you remember the Tranquilo Barnetta free kick, I think it was like 2016, 2017. I don't remember, but it was against Joe Bendick, and so there was this picture of Bendick just like with this like weird face trying to save this free kick, man. But now he's with us, man. I feel like he's been all over the damn league as well, man. But
yes.
It's gonna be weird. So who is going to be the goalkeeper in place of Galese?
It's going to be our homegrown Mason Steidelhart.
The homegrowns, man.
I think I had it up. He is 4-2-5 in 11 starts for us. So right around a 500 record. But it might maybe closer to 4-2-6 in about 72 hours here. So who knows? He's a good keeper, but Pedro is just one step above almost everybody else in the league. So to lose him and then have to have a backup in is going to be tough.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, let's get to these lines because I'm very curious what this will look like. So for Orlando, come Saturday night, what will be the starting 11 for Oscar Pareja's side?
Oh, all right. Well, then you got Mason in goal, like we just said.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with a back 4. Oscar could play like a back 9, and I wouldn't be surprised though. It'll be Luca Petrasso at left back, kid we just signed from Toronto in the offseason. That center back pairing of Schlegel and Janssen, hopefully, and then at right back, I'd have to say Kyle Smith. He's kind of our fill-in left back, right back, even center back at some points if we need it. So it's a Swiss Army knife in the back line. 2 DMs. I'm going 4-2-3-1. I just feel as if that's very Oscar Pareja. We'll go Cesar Araujo, and then Mauricio Pereira has been playing kind of like an 8 this year. So we'll stick him in the midfield. On the left, we'll go Ivan Angulo. Cam. Oh, gosh. Let's go Ojeda at Cam. On the right. Let's see, this is where it gets sticky.
We got to do the same thing too. That's the problem. Like we're still trying to figure out what the lineup was going to be Saturday.
Up top will be Duncan McGuire, and then right mid can be. I don't know. I'm just blanking. Let's see.
It's literally like you just flip a coin.
Yeah. Well, I can't spell Orlando on my own, so let's see. Then we go to.
But do you think it's going to be 4-3-3?
4-2-3-1, 4-3-3,
okay.
5-5 in Oscar's mind, You know what? We're gonna fully change it up. We're gonna go Mauricio Pereira moving from that 8 spot. He played right mid when he was over in Russia playing for Krasnodar. So we're sticking Mo out right, and then we're going Dagger Dan Thorolfsson, another new signing in the midfield. Sorry.
So is this like what you want or what you think will happen?
Honestly, what I think and what I want to happen, it just doesn't matter because Oscar will throw anything else out there. We do predicted lineups. We throw them on Instagram and Twitter day of the match. So mine, however many hours from now, could be totally different than what I just said. because my mind will change. So we'll see, but I think that's actually a pretty a decent prediction as to what could happen.
Yeah. So let's move lastly now to prediction time. Let's get a final score prediction. What you think will happen in the match, and then a key for the Union in this one to get the dub.
All right, can I have you go your score prediction first? Because I'd like to see what you're thinking.
I personally do believe, because the Union kind of have their backs up against the wall just a little bit. It's still really early, so you can't really just go like full back up against the wall. But it hasn't been really motivational play. You lose in Montreal, you do advance in Champions League, which was great, but MLS play hasn't really been very, very motivating. So I do think in this one, with the backs a little bit up against the wall, a lot of people counting them out because they are very thin. I do think the Union will get the 1-0 victory. I think it's going to be low scoring. But I think that someone's going to step up, whether it be Joaquin Torres or Ure. I think one of those two will be the hero, but it's going to be close, man, for sure.
Yeah, you said 1-0, and it snapped me out of my thinking. I'm sitting here like, 3-1 loss. You guys win 3-1.
We're missing a lot of pieces too, man. Especially you saw the attack. You saw the attacking pieces we're missing.
Yeah, well, we have attacking pieces, but we don't use them. So technically, we're missing our whole attack also. Yeah, I could go. I'm going 2-0, you guys. I'll give you the 2 goals because I can't see us attacking.
Okay. And do you have a key for the Union to beat Orlando?
Press. I don't think we have people to. I mean, we do. We have speed up top. But if you don't let us out, then I don't even know. It confuses me. I think the press could work. But then at the same time, if you just try to let us attack, we'll make a mistake and you're attacking third, and then you could counter on us. So you could either sit back and then counter or press us, and then we just can't attack it anyway. So it's just play your football, I guess.
Especially like if we do have to start Chris Donovan, I think that could be someone that you're just, Chris, we're going to put you in here for 60 minutes or even 90. Just run the heck out. Just run all damn 90 minutes or whatever out of time. But that could very well be what happens on Saturday. It should be interesting.
It'll be an MLS match then.
Sounds about right, man. Listen, Zach, dude, we really do appreciate what you do for our league. Obviously, with the interviews are freaking fantastic. We do appreciate you coming in here as well, man. So let the people know if they do have an issue to find out about Orlando City Fan TV. Where can people find the great work, man?
We are on Instagram at OCFanTV, on TikTok at OCFanTV, Twitter at OCFanTV22, because some bum has at OCFanTV and hasn't used it since 2017. And then YouTube is Orlando City Fan TV, and Spotify and blah, blah, blah. All that's Orlando City Fan TV.
Just type in Orlando City Fan TV and you'll be able to find it.
Yep.
Zach, man, I really do appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon. All right, brother? Enjoy Saturday.
Appreciate having me on here.
All right, that's going to do it. Big shout out, a big thank you to Zach from Orlando City Fan TV. All right, well, Justin, you heard it from Zach. I'm not too concerned because of the fact that they are missing a lot of pieces, and we talk about how important Andre is for the Union. Pedro is really big for Orlando, so I think that is a bigger loss, man. How concerned are you about the losses on Saturday with the players?
I think for Orlando, it's a bit bigger. Like as we said,
two best players probably.
Pedro Gallese, without him, Orlando doesn't walk out of Tigres with a no draw. Like he literally stole them a draw. And Facundo Torres, I always say, is the most dangerous player on the field when he is there. And listen, I'm not that scared of that defense. Like Robin Jansen and Radu Schlegel are big, but they're not that fast. And you will have Mikel Uwa, who will be around. I think Uwa is perfect for games like this. And Chris Donovan, just throw him out there and say, like, just press, just keep pressing, just force because you're still going to have the players that are going to be able to support. So if you send him out there and just keep hassling, I mean, that's kind of what Corey Burke did best is you sent him out there for 30, 35 minutes and said, just Corey, just keep hassling them, just keep getting in their faces. And I think you're going to have more of that, and missing Gallese and Torres is going to be, I think, bigger than the Union missing Gazdag and El Brujo.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, I agree. I do think that what Orlando's missing is a much bigger deal than what we have, because I still think that if you look at our back line and our midfield, it's still pretty solid that what we're going to put out there on Saturday. For me, I think it's going to be a gritty, grind it out. I don't think there's going to be more than 2 goals in total scored in this matchup either. And you know, obviously weather, we'll see what that looks like on Saturday. That's definitely going to be a factor as well. But I think for myself, Justin, in this one, I do look at Ure in this type of showdown, and you're like you look at what's available, and I think I can pull up here. So yeah, so here is what's missing. So like if goals are the issue, or goals are the concern, I should say, for Saturday, Ure, let's see how he responds to that. I'm wondering how these goals are going to come. I'm expecting Ure, but anything can happen, man. I think that's really what we're going to be looking to see this upcoming Saturday, brother.
Absolutely. I think goals, like if last game is anything, I think Mikel could be poised to not break out, but like I think it's, you know, he was consistent through the season. He would have some spec, but so I think if he can kind of start to get that consistency, that's where I want to see, especially in this game where this is going to be his game to really step up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go with lineups here. What do you think is your lineup prediction for this upcoming Saturday?
So I think there's going to be a few quote unquote reunions here. Obviously, Bendick Face in net. I don't think you can blame Joe for anything that happened in Montreal. Like, that was a kind of a tough game for everyone. Back line mostly intact. I mean, not too many impact international call-ups. You're gonna have Kai on the left, Elliott and Glesnes in the middle, and of course Nate on the right with Olivier. As a call-up. The midfield is where it gets interesting. I mean, there's not many options. But here's how I see it playing out. I think Leon will be the 6. I think you're gonna see Pereira and Bedoya as the shuttlers, and you're gonna have Joaquin at the 10 with Chris Donovan and Mikel Ua up top. Now, having Pereira and Ali is essentially having 2 of the same player, which is fine because Leon, we've seen Leon play the 6. He can run all over the field and cover up. I mean, that's best. I think he's best when he doesn't have to worry about the offensive side and he just can focus on cleaning up the defensive mistakes and making those breakout plays and starting the counter. We know what Ali can do, and with Pereira, I mean, listen, Ali can kind of ease his runs. He can make those runs, and then when he gets tired, you know, Pereira can make those runs. And also, I mean, Joaquin Torres, he might not for 35 minutes he might do nothing, and then he pulls one moment of magic, and that changes the game. And as I said, before, Chris Donovan, I think Jim's just going to send him to run and run and run. And Mikel Ua, this is going to be his game to shine. I mean, this is the moments where this will be, can he step up and really be the impact player when you're missing a lot of people?
Absolutely here. All right, let's get that prediction. What do you see will happen here this upcoming Saturday?
So, I've been debating about this. I know you said not more than 2 goals in the game. I'm not going to go much higher than that. I've been kind of back and forth with the way this is. I'm going to say, again, the Union, we saw last year, they don't lose 2 games in a row. I think that trend does not break here. Super Park has been a fortress. I think it stays that way. I'm feeling a 2-1 Union victory.
Okay.
And I think the key is gonna be forcing that back line into a mistake. Mason Studahar is an okay goalie. Like as he said, Pedro Gallese is just different. He's just like Andre. It's just a next level kind of unreal goalie, and that back line is very prone to mistakes. And I think there will be times where the Union will press, and there'll be times where the Union will allow them to play and cut off the midfield. That midfield without Facundo Torres, that midfield, if you choke that midfield out, that'll be absolutely key in stopping them from really getting anything going. And I think the Union can dictate the play, and especially after everything that happened, I think this is something that you want a bounce back game. And I think at home, even with players missing, I think this is where you really step up.
I'm really curious how the energy will be, because I feel like for myself, if I put myself in that situation as the Union players, I'd be pissed off at the way Montreal kind of played out. So I think the best way to kind of cure that, Justin, is to let it out on Saturday. You start off the bat, you set the tone, you play Union soccer, as I always say. And, 3 points should be given here. It's both teams are in the same situation. We're in the fortress. We're in the cathedral, right? We're at the soup. So all things can happen when you're at the soup, especially when you got Justin. Is Saturday Orange Hat field, or what are we doing?
No, so it's gonna be in the 50s
Okay.
for this game. And it's so weird. It's supposed to be raining like leading up to the game, but I don't think, as far as I checked on the weather report, it looks like the rain may die off before the game starts.
Okay.
So if you are going, if you're tailgating like myself, we'll be at the Sons of Ben tailgate.
Poncho it up, baby.
I would say bring the Ziploc baggies for your cell phone and wallet and stuff. Let's see if I look right now at the. Okay, so it's 7 to 8. It's about a 45% chance of rain. So it'll be. I would say still bring your gear. So bring your Ziploc baggies for your electronics, and be ready to. It might be a wet and wild game. Who knows?
It's gonna be a wet dupe, that's for sure, man. Yeah. So definitely bring that energy. I'll definitely try to put out weather updates on the Twitter account on Saturday, just to help out the people who are scrolling through Twitter and they'll see what the weather is. We'll like to help out a little bit. Just before we sign off, I do want to give a big shout out. So I'm sure everyone saw yesterday. Erica, the PR director for the Philadelphia Union, celebrated 5 seasons with the club. A great celebration, or great just accolade. And you saw all the Union players, current and former, showing love to Erica. I will say, dealing with the Union as a media member has been seamless. Honestly, they have obviously their front office is fantastic, but she's really great. So I just wanted to, as a podcast, give a big shout out to Erica and a thank you, because we hope to do some more work with the Union in the near future. So shouts out to Erica for sure. You ready for Saturday, Justin?
100%. Always ready to be back at the soup.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Guys, it's going to do it for this edition of DOOP by the River. Thank you so much for tuning on. And big thank you to Zach from Orlando City Fan TV. Make sure you guys check those guys out. Of course, make sure you guys like and subscribe for all of your DOOP by the River viewings. Find us River Stream Podcast. We're available on Apple and Spotify. Find us under DOOP by the River Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin Shitstorm Goalie Friedberg. I go by the name of El Parcero Philly. And we're telling you guys to DOOP on.